Imagine you're heading to a coffee shop. You got 3 hours on your hands and you're thinking, I want to do some work. But as you're driving over, you're thinking to yourself, why would I, as a Christian, not witness to the people around me and spend my 3 hours that way? So that's what this vlog is about. How do you know what to do when? Vlog number 7, engage, like, share. Would love to hear your comments and see you on the other side.
Called like a legend almost. Like Warren Buffett basically had this pilot who had been piloting for him for 10 years on his private jet.
Okay.
And basically he said to him, the fact that you're still my pilot tells me I'm not doing my job, because you should not be here anymore. You should be off pursuing your other career goals and dreams.
Huh.
So basically he said, do you even know what your career goals and dreams are?
Uh-huh.
And then he said, okay, so write down your 25 most important career goals and dreams for yourself, 25 of them. And then basically he said, okay, so now those are your most important. Now what are the most important of the most important, right? I have 5 of them. He said, but they're all important. He's like, okay, well 5 of them need to be more important than the rest.
Okay.
So write down 5 of the most important ones. He said, circle the 5 of the 25. So then you're forced to have 2 lists. There's a list of 5 things that are most important, and there's a list of 20 things. The pilot was like, okay, well, I'll focus on the 5 the most, and then the 20, I'll do incrementally. And then my brother said, no. He said, what you're gonna do is avoid all the 20 of them at all costs. Wow. You avoid those goals at all costs. Wow. Anytime opportunities rise for those goals, don't take them. Yeah. You're focusing on these 5 until you accomplish them. Yep. And then once you complete 1 or 2 or 3, you just keep inserting more goals.
Until you accomplish all 25. After like 25 years or 50 or whatever.
But who knows, you might be adding more goals to that 25 list, so it just keeps going on and on.
Yeah, it depends on how fast you reach your goal.
That's how he built his empire.
Wow.
So,
wow.
That's pretty...
Yeah, I find it fascinating because of the terminology of what he calls the 525 rule.
Yeah.
I literally have something called the 525 principle.
Okay,
but
so that's yours.
Yeah, but it's not as sophisticated and full-blown in that sense. It's really a simple guideline, which is, it comes from Galatians 5:25, which is, if we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. So the idea behind that is simply like, okay, so let's say I have 15 things I need to accomplish today. Yeah. How do I know which one I should be doing, right? Yeah. And I would say like, okay, it's great, let's write it down, let's prioritize, and so on and so forth. Yeah. But it can entirely happen where you set out to like accomplish the first 3 in the first couple hours of the day or whatever. But the problem happens when, let's suppose like a friend calls you and he's like in desperate need and he's just going through like depression or I don't know, anything, right? Yeah. And he's like, I just need to talk to you, bro, like can we FaceTime? Like, and then it ends up be like 2 hours, you know, or whatever. Like, wait a second, your whole list.
Away from the list.
Right. How to make a decision between like going to Starbucks and then deciding either I gotta study for 3 hours, no one can bother me, my big headphones, nobody else, just me and my textbook or whatever, right? I got a midterm tomorrow. Versus like as you're driving over there, walking over, let's imagine you begin to feel like, wait a second, what if I go there and I just know there's like 10 people around me, like none of them who are Christian? Isn't the Christian's responsibility and duty to go and witness, right? How do you justify studying for a midterm for 3 hours when you got like 3 souls whose lives are at stake or whatever, right? Right. And so I literally had this running through my head when I was driving to Starbucks. I was like, I gotta go write this book for 4 hours. I want no distractions. But then I know, like, it could be the person sitting across the table from me is not Christian, right? So shouldn't I evangelize, right?
Exactly.
And so I like on my 5-minute drive over, I was like, what do I really do, right? And so the verse kind of popped in my head and I looked it up. It was Galatians 5:25, and it says, if we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. So this is what I concluded. I think there's 2 potential disobediences. And what I mean by that is, it's disobedience on the one hand, if we go there and we really feel like the Spirit of God is saying like, talk to this man or whoever, and we're like, no, I don't want to do it, that's right? Disobedience. That's disobedience. But if we're like, I know I got to study for my midterm or write this book or whatever, but I really kind of feel guilty a little bit, so I'm going to go share with at least 3 people before those 3 hours are done and never mind my studies. Yeah, that's also disobedience. It's disobedience if the Spirit is not working in their life and on your heart in that moment. Yeah. And the only way we're going to be able to discern is if we're keeping in step with the Spirit. Like, we might go 2 hours, but for the last hour, like, wait a second, I do need to study a little bit more, but I feel like that person that just walked in, you know what I mean? Like, you get that moment, and that's just us yielding to the Spirit.
Yeah.
So I think a balanced life is one where we do have structure and we schedule out our day and so on and so forth and have some goals, but then also just be very sensitive to what the Spirit might be saying to us and use that 5-25 principle.
Leave time for unstructured stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there it is, the 5-25 principle. If we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. It doesn't mean there's no structure in our lives. We have to have structure, of course. In fact, structure brings freedom. But there is a sense in which we need to learn to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit, because He might be asking us to do things in a way that's different than what we have planned. So all that to say, hope that's encouraging to some of you, and we'll see you next time.